Fly Nubia Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Welcome to Fly Nubia Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we are talking about a growing trend that's gaining attention: lavender marriages. For those unfamiliar, a lavender marriage is a union between two people, often one or both being part of the LGBTQ plus community, where the relationship is more about social status, financial stability, or public image rather than love or romantic connections. Now, in some cases, Black women are exploring these marriages as a way to find both emotional companionship and financial security. But what happens when a relationship is built on a convenience instead of a true emotional fulfillment? We'll explore why some Black women are looking to lavender marriages, what this means for our personal lives, and how it's reshaping the way we think about partnership and financial stability. I am Lala Key, international real estate agent and vocalist. Today, I have my queens here. I have Noma, M3 program, marriage, motherhood, and money making. You know, she focuses on the family. And we have Aisha, who is our financial expert as well. Hello, queens. This seems to be getting a lot of traction right now, and mostly from where? TikTok, TikTok always got something going on where we're paying attention to, right? So this is where a lot of people are talking about it and being introduced to. Now, I'm not unfamiliar with it at all. I just was unfamiliar with them calling it lavender marriages. That's something new. So quick question before we dive into it. Aisha, have you ever heard of lavender marriages before?
No, I have not. When I heard it, I'm like, what is this?
Are you? What is this? What topic is this? Noma, have you heard of that as well?
When you kind of described it, it doesn't sound like anything new, but I have never heard it called lavender marriages, and the LGBTQ, ABC element is new.
It's new. Okay. Well, I mean, it's never, especially in Hollywood, especially old school Hollywood, many years ago, when people could not admit that they were gay or lesbian, they would always marry into these marriages. But like I said, times changed. They just named it something now, right? Right now, it's actually just called lavender. So I've asked my panel here, so I want to hear what you have to say, family, because we don't talk at you, we talk with you. So I would love to hear if you have known about lavender marriages before now. Deborah said yes, she has heard of a lavender marriage. And then Pardonay says to each his own, just don't end up chopped up and strewn around in some lake. And then, of course, we have some other people who are here as well. Anonymous said, lavender marriage, Will Smith comes to mind. And we're not here to pick on people. We are not here to also shame anyone on how they want to live their lives and their lifestyle. We are just talking about how this could possibly affect our community. And it's something that we should be watching. So we're actually going to be starting off with a video, and then we're going to get back into this conversation. Watch this.
All right, guys. So I just posted a video and they took it down, and I figured out why they took it down. So I'm going to repost it, and I'm going to be clean this time when I say what I have to say. Okay? So I would like to participate in a lavender marriage. All right? Just hear me out. I just found out what it was on TikTok. And I'm not ashamed to say that I think it's a good idea. So for the girlies who need a companion, you're not necessarily looking for like the intimate sexual relationship, because you've done that in the past. You get what I'm saying? And you've let your eyes lead you astray. And Miss Moose Knuckle may have led you astray. Okay? And you made poor decisions. Now, I'm not saying that being married to a gay man is going to fix that. I'm not saying that. But it's like when you're thinking about a person, if you're really only going to get like 80% of what you want anyway, how about you take out the intimacy part, take out the sexual and physical part, and have all your other needs met? Like, a man cares very little about how your day went. Like, you could tell him, oh, my day went like this. He don't really care. Versus you telling like your companion, and he's like, oh, now we having martinis, like we having lemon drops, like now we at the club, like now we done bought a new Snuggie off of Amazon, like, you know what I'm saying? It's different. Also, why are you trying to make something hard feminine? Like, men are just nonchalant and just very Now, I know there are some women who have came across a man and then, they're cool, good for you. Well, baby, I haven't. And at this point, I don't know if it's just a DMV thing, if it's a DC thing, but it's given, like, I want to go out with somebody. I want to go horseback riding. I want to try gardening. I want to do printmaking. I want to do silk aerial classes. I want to do pole dance. I want to do all types of stuff. And the vibes that I get from hanging out with my girlfriends and hanging out with my god sisters and stuff, that's that vibe. I need that hit of dopamine all day, every day. So it's just like, I'd rather have a gay husband.
It's very interesting to me, her thought process for this. And I'm going to give full disclosure. My son is a part of the LGBTQ plus community. And this is not something that is.
Did Lala freeze?
I think she did freeze.
Okay,
Yeah,
so let's go.
yeah, like she was
Your
saying.
thoughts, Aisha?
Yes, like she was saying, this is my first time hearing it and just trying to understand the concept of it. And from the video that was just shared, and Lala was saying that her family member, with the full disclosure that she has a family member that is part of that community. I think there's one thing that sometimes I think as human beings, we kind of take overboard. I think sometimes people think, oh, because I'm this way, nobody wants me, or I won't have what I need. It's difficult, right? So then we try to find ways to fix it, and then we go extreme to fix the problem. And like the question was, how will that affect our community, right? Because we have to think about the good of our community, not just the good of me. So that's what I
was also
thinking. I'm like, is it about you or the community? Is it about just me or the future of the next generation? That was what I was thinking. And being in the LGBTQ community, there's nothing wrong with you. God made you that way for a reason, and you have to find a way to accept it, but not in a way where you think you have to now do something to prove something. That's how I was thinking. That's what my mind is thinking when I heard about it. What about you, Noma?
I don't think God makes gay people gay, but that's a story for another day. I have never gone on any platform and spoken badly about gay people. I'm not going to start now. But I will say this, and it has nothing to do with the LGBTQ community. It has more to do with the young lady who was talking. She just sounded selfish. She was talking about all the things she wants, all the things she needs, and I didn't hear her even 1 second turn around and say, okay, if this man can offer me these things, here's what I'm offering. Nothing. It was just about me. I need a companion. I need to sip champagne with somebody. I need this. I want this. I want this. I want that. And she's saying all that looking a hot mess. So I don't know what to make of that.
Well, obviously, I just had a power surge. So I just
It's one of those days.
It's one of those days. But I was saying before I went out that my son is a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and we talk freely. My son and I talk freely about everything. He said this is not something that he would be interested in, even though he is not in he wants to be in a committed relationship. He's looking for a partner, but he's not willing to put on fronts for something that he feels like in his life is a really important thing. So for him, it's not, but he does have a lot of friends that do. And so I can understand both ways. I really love that I can talk to my son about these things because, I want to understand all sides and be respectful about it. But, and since I dropped out a little bit, I don't know what was asked, but I do want to ask you, Aisha, do you think that a lavender marriage is a form of compromise or just survival?
I think sometimes if you're on the outside looking in, it's like both, right? You're trying to survive, but then, so I want to survive, but what am I compromising for that survival? Because sometimes when we do things that only benefits us and we're not thinking long term and the people around us, now that's a compromise. And it means that we're willing to actually do things that will probably make other people fall because of us, just because we want to do things so everybody can think we fit in. You don't have to fit in. You're wonderfully made by God. You don't have to fit in. And then now making it where it's acceptable. That's scary to me. You shouldn't do that. There's no need for that.
It's always, to me, at some point, though, we're all trying to fit into a norm of somehow until we get to maybe a certain age and wake up and go, wait a minute. Like I'm having an epiphany on my own self at 55. I'm at that age where I'm like, really? Don't care. Next. So we're all trying to like just conform into something, but is this harmful or hurtful? So, Noma, do you, this young lady, she came out and she said a lot of things, but what do you think is the underlying factor of that? Do you think that it sounds like it's hurt or pain or fear, or is she just giving up?
It sounds like there is some giving up because she said that she made some really bad decisions, and then she said that she didn't really feel like she could find what she wanted. But you were saying, does this lavender marriage sound like compromise or survival? But it's actually very important to understand what marriage actually is, and it's actually both of those things. I have yet to meet somebody who's married and never compromised.
That's right.
When you go way, way, way back and you look at what marriage and family were about, it was about survival. We're just now looking at survival in a different form, right? Men are, if we're sticking more to the gender roles, men are there to protect and to provide. The women are there to nurture. Can you imagine a little newborn baby with no mother to nurture them? They wouldn't survive. Can you imagine a bunch of women and there's a threat or an attack and there are no men? Mm-hmm. They wouldn't survive, you see, or even children, they wouldn't survive. So that is part of what it is. I just think that they're just putting a twist on something that already exists, and that, that happens. Even same gender marriages, they tend to kind of sometimes mirror traditional marriages in that there'll be one partner who's more of the protector and the provider, and then the other one will be more of the nurturer. So it still goes back to the foundational thing of, we do need to compromise. We're not perfect. None of us are. So even when you're picking a partner, you're going to have to give and take. If you're going to sustain that thing, build that family, and do it for generations, there are going to be a lot of compromises. And then if we do it well, we will survive. We do need to reproduce and have children in order to survive, the species to survive. So it's just I feel like they're taking something that already existed, putting a different spin on it.
Agree. I totally agree. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. But in the meantime, while this break is happening, I want to hear more of your comments. Let's hear what you've got to say about this. Is this selfish or is it just a way of survival? Because now we're going to talk about a little bit of a different twist on this when we come back.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
Because that's what we do here. Like, listen, we've told you that over and over. Now, if you're new to us and you don't know what we do, we help you to build your financial house. So make sure that you go check out flynubianmoney.com. You are going to need it, especially in today's time. Get you a side hustle, learn a new skill because you are going to need it. So Anonymous says polygamy is normal in a lot of countries. I believe in monogamy personally. And we do see the rise of that as well. But here's what I want to talk about, because there is an emotional aspect to humans being connected to someone. We all want someone in our life. This is not just cush, snuggle. This is, you want to come home and share your experience with your spouse. She's saying that most people, the first video said, most men that she's come across do not want to do that. So Aisha, I want to hear your take on this, but then I got to ask you too, Noma. So you be thinking, please, because you are our marriage expert, but this is something I do want to tap into. How does the emotional cost of living in a marriage that isn't built on romantic love impact your mental health? That's you, Aisha.
Yeah, that's $1 million question, right? How does that affect you and your mind? How does that affect you? Number one, I believe that first of all, we're all brothers and sisters, right? We're supposed to live in such a way anyways. We're supposed to be brothers and sisters. And then there are people that are set apart to become our partners, which is if we get married in traditional way, which is what I believe in, traditional marriage. So I will see where that wouldn't be a negative thing, but let's put it in the right context. Why does it have to be under the context of marriage? Because you can be with someone in a serious where you take care of each other, you care about each other deeply, and share the expense. It doesn't have to be under a marriage, like as a traditional marriage. Why does it have to be that deep? That's part I don't understand. So to me, I think that will mess you up, because then you're trying to take something that really makes society strong and making it whatever. We can't do that. So that's my thought on that.
Interesting. Now, Noma, I want to tap into you on that, because, it is not just emotional. There is a mental capacity to this as well, a mental effect. How do you see it, and what is your opinion on that?
Well, the interesting thing is love marriages are, if you look at the full context of human evolution, are actually relatively new. Where you want love, friendship, intimacy, and all of those things, because marriage, when you go back, used to be something that was in place to build families and build wealth. And actually, people used to have arranged marriages. So the idea was that if you were well matched and you treated each other well, and you both came from similar backgrounds, similar values, and so forth, the love would grow. And I've met people who will actually tell you like, oh, I didn't even really like him when I met him, but oh, 20 years, well, it's usually many years later, 30 years later, I can't imagine my life without him. It's so rich, it's so deep, we've built so much together. I can't even begin to express the depth of our love and our family and blah, 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 blah. So I understand that we can talk about an emotional component, but some of what that girl said, or lady said, is she talked about companionship. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it talks about a sense of belonging. I can't remember all the steps of it, but one of them is belonging. I think there's food, shelter, and other things. And marriage is supposed to, and family is supposed to kind of fulfill some of those things. And then as a human being, you're supposed to find those other things on your own to become a human being who's fulfilled and happy and content. I'm just saying, though, they're just doing something fake that mirrors something real, right? Or that looks like something real. But I mean, that like I said, that happens with a lot of things. We're going to take something that is tried and true, that we've been doing for so many years, and then we're going to put a twist on it and then try and say it's also normal.
Right. There's a lot of things going on in the world. And I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing such backlash from a whole lot of things that are happening in the world right now. There's such a divide, not just politically, but it is political too, because there are certain Christianity and all those things that you're falling in the middle, and people are fighting over that too. And what is marriage and what is this and whose rights are being taken away? I think there is a whole lot deeper roots into this than what it just looks like on the surface. Tamisha said, I feel like it's a survival mechanism as well as just settling for whatever now. And sometimes it kind of does feel like that in a way. But it could also, like I said, to each their own and whatever their reasoning for that. But let's check out another video and we will be right back.
Well, every day somebody in my comments asking me to be their Lavender husband. And I'm thinking like, oh, that's cute. What we gonna dress up in lilac, go wedding cake tasting, pose for pictures and shit like that for the gram. Child, I had to Google what lavender marriage was because I had no idea. So apparently, a lavender marriage is when a gay man and a lesbian get together and have a union for appearance and for the benefits of it, right? But not for you-know-what. And like, y'all be dead-ass serious. And the gag is, I was first low-key offended because I'm like, why they calling me gay? But then I'm like, hold on, is that what y'all really want from me? Like a full-blown lavender husband? And it really got me wondering, like, it's gotta be real bad out here for the ladies if they don't even want the niggas at all. But I got one question for y'all. Which one of y'all cooking every night? Because that is what matters. Because the way to my heart is definitely through my stomach. I am a motherfucker foodie to the core, okay? Because as much as I love, food ranks top on the priority list, okay? So may the best recipes win, because if I'm gonna marry for optics, the food got to be on point.
Now, he actually made that actually hilarious. I thought it was absolutely funny because most men, period, the way that their heart is through their stomach. So he ain't no different than a heterosexual man. I'm just saying, like right there. But here's what was really important to him. He said, if I am going to compromise, if I am going to be in this, then I got to get something out of it. And that is what the key thing is. They're getting something out of it that they're missing into their lives. But what's really interesting to me is I find it very interesting that there are a lot of Black women who are willing to jump on this bandwagon. So and we also know that women are underpaid and women are losing their jobs. So Aisha, how do you think that financial stability plays into this trend, especially for our women, our Black women?
Yeah, I think also because we're fragmented, there's a lot of fragmentation happening. People are living so apart now. So it's causing the financial strain to be more felt, right? Because the best way usually is for us to live communally together so that we can share the burden of each other, whether it's financially as a family, whether it's our in our home with our brothers and sisters or aunties. If we live communally, it reduces our expense. It's just natural, but we're not doing that anymore. So we're living far away from each other. And then so we have to pay several mortgages then we have to pay for this and that. So it's causing the rift of financial burden to be more even harder for us. So then now we compromise. We think, okay, well then I can do whatever just to make up for what I cannot do, because the core of the issue is not being dealt with, right? And somebody mentioned, oh well, what about people that want to be okay, alone? But we're actually made for community, no matter how we look at it. We're mostly made for community, so everybody's seeking that community. And the sad thing is, again, we're just fragmented, so it's causing financial hardship for us to be able to afford things that we need or to live the life that we want. So then now we want to compromise by making fake things look real so that we can have that.
That's very interesting, because most of the problems that we have in America, a lot of times, is other people trying to keep up with the Joneses or making appearances so that they can either climb that corporate ladder or whatever it is in their lives, and they don't want certain things in the closet. There are a lot of political people who do this exact same thing because they know if they're in politics, they cannot share their true life. But this is a question for you, Noma. And then I'm actually going to ask you this question too, Aisha, because we're all international here. We're everywhere. Like, I'm Portugal, I'm back home. Sometimes I'm in Spain, sometimes I'm in Kentucky, sometimes I'm in California, sometimes I'm in Florida. It's different in every place. All right. California is more acceptable. Florida, not so much. Kentucky, Portugal, I don't see it that often. So is this an American thing? Noma, do you see this a lot where you are?
By where I am, you mean like in Botswana?
Yes, Botswana.
No, but I'm realizing that we are three. I guess our children would call us older women. Having this conversation, and I think that when in my days when I used to be a college instructor, I remember that I used to have this panel of young women that I used to mentor, and I had a course that was for an introductory course that was for freshman women, right? And I remember my mind was always blown by the things they would tell me, and it showed me that I've come now to the age where there's a lot of things that I just don't understand, because when I was growing up, it just wasn't a thing. And I can remember this was more than 10 years ago. I had an open discussion about relationships, and half of the young women in there said that they were fluid and that they just like who they like. And then if that person is a male or a female, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, but are you gay? No, I'm not gay. Are you bisexual? No, I just like who I like. And this was a foreign concept to me. Then they had this loose idea about family and marriage, and part of it came from the fact that a lot of them came from urban communities where, unfortunately, there was a lot of single parent homes. So they had spent generations never actually seeing two parent homes. So that wasn't even something that they aspired to for themselves. And they just had different ideas about how they would do life. To me, I come from the exact opposite. I can't imagine doing life any other way. And it would just boggle my mind. So I think that's part of what's going on here. We're not really understanding this because it's a newer concept. Although I will say, Lala, wasn't there a thing called a beard? Isn't that just a beard? There used to be this thing where they said if a gay person marries or pretends to be straight, they have a beard or something like that, where they just pretend to be straight. So this isn't really new. It really isn't new. It's just that we as Black women are jumping on it, and that's unusual.
That is unusual because for our community, there's always a conflict with that. And that's why I find it very interesting that a lot of the people that we have run into on TikTok and what we're promoting today is about our community. And I was really kind of shocked about that. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. This conversation is so good to me that I'm forgetting about the commercials, y'all. Lord, let us pay the bills. Commercial.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name, Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Baby, you know we looking for you. I get excited every time we run that commercial because I'm so excited about having a Black business directory. Listen, I always like to reiterate this one because we can't have a directory if you don't send your information in. So you have a business or service, please make sure that you email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us all of your information, your business, your name, your telephone number, your website, your email, you name it, and even a little bio so that we can learn about you. So go ahead and do that now because listen, this is critical to keep our black dollars in our community. So please do that today. Now listen, Aisha, someone asked, it's an open marriage because obviously in a Lavender marriage, they are not sleeping together. That's well known. They're not sleeping together and they tout that they're not. So how on earth do you think this is any different than a man and a woman being married and having an open marriage?
Open marriage. Wow. That's a totally different, what I can see where
Is that what this is?
right. Oh my gosh. Because that is true. And then again, it's confusing. If there are young people around that are impressionable, imagine that. Just imagine if they had nieces and nephews that came around and they saw that this union was going on, but then there's nothing happening. Now they're together 10 years, nothing is happening. Oh, we're just together, but we're married. What does that tell the next generation? And now this union that now doesn't bring forth anything is just for the financial benefit and just companionship. Eventually, imagine if that begins to translate and becomes normal. Imagine it means we're going to die off, literally, because nothing is just because you're just doing it just for convenience. Well, what about the reason why we're really together, right? Is for us to actually build the next generation, to build legacy, to continue this race that we have. But if we don't do that because we're doing this and making it open, where we think it's not even open, it's open in the sense that you can go do your thing quietly because you're doing your own thing, I'm doing my own thing. But in the eyes of people that are impressionable, they think you're married. It doesn't, it's so confusing in so many deep levels that it's really, to be honest with you, because I'm from a very traditional family, it's even hard to wrap my mind around it. But I understand that the newer generation, like Noma was saying, there's a lot of fluidity and the difference because they grew up in a single home. They haven't seen the other part. So they don't mind going either way. Right. But then that's also a problem that is societal. It's gradually becoming a big problem because nothing was being said over time, but now we're seeing the effect of it. So imagine if this becomes normal now, it means literally people will die off eventually because there's nobody being born. Now we're all doing our things, we're doing whatever we want. Really.
Yeah, it's really deep. I mean, there's so much to dig into. We have another video though, because this actually is, kind of trending on what people are talking about. And let's check this out.
I love seeing all these women on TikTok making these videos and stitches about lavender marriages or wanting to have a lavender marriage or actively looking for a lavender marriage. Yes, I second first, third, fourth, and fifth. Yes, I second third, fourth, and fifth is building a women's community so that we can thrive and live as women without the fear of being ambushed, attacked, raped, raided, anything like that. But what I love the most is how majority of the women that are stitching or making these videos, they are coming with real solutions to a lot of the problems that we face in our daily society that's ran by men. The maternal, prenatal cares that we can offer, basic knowledge and nurturing, a community abundant in resources because we will constantly be replenishing them instead of diminishing them. I would love for Mother Earth to all come back into one. I would love for the feminine, the divine feminine to wake up and realize that they all need to come back, band together, and give society a reset. I don't know. I feel like with that surge in like the next couple, maybe 5 years, we're going to see like a lot more lavender marriages and different variations of lavender marriage, just because things are so hard right now, inflation and then wars, bullshit, all that stuff. I just think it's going to be great. I love seeing all these women on TikTok making these videos and stitches about lavender marriages or wanting to have a lavender marriage or actively looking for a lavender marriage. Yes, I second.
There was so much in there that I have to unpack in my own brain. Because for one, that sounds like, butterflies and candy canes, but where are the babies? Where is the self-love within yourself? We need to talk about the babies. All right. Now some lavender marriages, we're going to make this very clear. Some lavender marriages, the women already have children. And when they're married, the guy will come and still be a part of the family. And he'd be willing to take on the fact that he's marrying into a family with children. So Noma, how do you think that lavender marriages affect children and family dynamics and social expectations? How does this tie into a family? Because we all know we can make a family of anything. My birth mother was my birth mother, but my family is my family. So how do we distinguish with these things?
So I'm glad you brought that up about how it affects the children, but even the couple that is in the marriage, I can't believe that anything that is based on a lie can thrive. When I talked first about arranged marriages, nobody's lying. Everybody understands what's happening. It's based on truth. It's based on building family, legacy, having children, building wealth, surviving, convenience, companionship, all of these things. And none of those things are lies. They're all true and they all have value. And you have to have those common values to get into it. Now, not only do you deceive yourself and build a so-called marriage based on a lie, you're going to bring children into that lie, which is just utter confusion and nonsense. I was listening to this girl talking, and it just sounds like just rambling nonsense. It sounds like they have solutions, but nobody's ever really seen what that does long term to them and to their children and for generations. Nobody's really talked about what that does. And the truth is that it is detrimental. Whether we like it or not, I don't believe in shoving religion down people's throats. But I am a Christian, and my faith and my values are based on Christian values. Okay, but so it's hard to kind of listen to people talking about, oh well, we just have an open marriage, so you're gonna be in sin forever, because that's the solution, right? If you're married to a man but you actually like women, that means you're always gonna step out on your marriage. Again, another lie. Right? Another deception, another betrayal, more sin. Then you're going to bring children into this confusion and try to create a so-called family, right? Based on a lie, and it's not gonna work well, and you're going to try and squeeze it into fitting something, calling it a family, calling it a marriage, but it's none of that. It's just utter chaos and nonsense and confusion. And I just don't see how I can, I have an open mind, but I just don't see how I can come on board with this. It just does not make sense. It's utter confusion and nonsense.
I have to agree. And when you're bringing, it's okay. Here's my take. If you want to do that in your life, that's your life. That's your life. That's your choice. But why would you bring others into that? Like, why would you bring the children into that confusion and label that as okay? If it's okay with you, then it should be okay with them. Now you're molding and shaping other people's minds on your perceptions and what you want to do in your life. To me, I believe everybody should have their own way of thinking and develop their own way of thinking and not just told what to think. I think that's what's wrong with a lot of us. We told what to think, and then we don't know how to go out and say, well, no, I really don't believe that. So I see problems with this all the way around, not just with the marriage itself, but with friends, family, children. It affects the whole community, which is what we are trying to dig into today. So let's look at some stats, because we always love me some stats. Let's look at what we got here. So according to a 2023 report from the National Marriage Project, financial stability is one of the most important factors for relationship satisfaction in the U.S., with 73% of couples citing shared financial goals as a key aspect of a successful partnership. While data on lavender marriages specifically is limited, surveys show that 45% of LGBTQ plus individuals in traditional marriages are in relationships that they see as fulfilling a specific need, such as financial security or societal acceptance, rather than romantic love. And a 2020 study from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics found that 61% of Black women are the primary earners in their household, which may contribute to the need for financial stability in relationships, even at the cost of romance. Y'all, I don't like the fact that I'm feeling like there's no love here.
Mhm.
I'm being the woo-woo Pisces. Am I being the woo-woo Pisces, Aisha?
No,
Do you see that there is a critical part missing? What are your thoughts on that?
yeah. Those stats just made me sad, and I think again, at the end of the day, is going back to the beginning, the fragmentation of our families, and not having a unified family, unity in family, that causes a ripple effect of problems that people don't understand. That really, there's a reason why a man and woman come together, protect each other in fidelity, to protect each other and raise the next generation, right? I have never seen any society that survives without strong families. Never. It will fall apart eventually. So there's a reason why we should fight as a community to say no. Our women should not be so casual in accepting this and say, well, no, that is not how we're supposed to be agreeing that it's okay because no, rather, how about if you just maybe find a good man? There are good men out there. Maybe we just have maybe a very high standard, which is fine, but our standards should be, are they really doable standards, or are they standards that are like, because we're looking at IG, right? Because sometimes we do these things that cause us problems that shouldn't be, because we're over asking for stuff and not really trying to be agreeable and work together and compromise and really build something spectacular, because our kids deserve it. The children, the next generation deserve it. We can't build on a lie. Like Norman said, you cannot build on a lie. Everything is a lie, 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 lie. What do you expect? A falling society. We don't want that. So that statistic just make my heart sad, because it means this is it. Accept it. Well, we don't want that. We don't want it.
I see so much contradiction in the world right now. That's my problem. I see so much contradiction in the world, meaning that, okay, it's okay to do this, but no, I want this. Like, I want to get married, but he better have a $5,000 habit a day for me. Right. So at what point do we become realistic in what women want and need in their life? I have friends that want so much more and have actually told me, well, girl, you got a good man. Well, we're celebrating 33 years this month, but you got a good man. I want one like that. Well, sister girl, you already putting out there that you don't want to struggle to get to what we have, because when we first started out, maybe we were sharing ramen noodle packets. We were splitting McDonald's hamburgers. Okay, we grew together. You can't always just step into that and expect that to happen. And what are you bringing to the table as well? But we have another video, because this is just really out there. So let's check this out.
So y'all, let me just say this. These lavender marriages, they starting to look like a little appetizer. Because, honey, if I can't get the straight man to act right, me and the gay man look like we gonna be all right. Because I'm just not understanding what is wrong with y'all. Now, truth of the matter is,
I'm gonna keep that comment to myself because that's not nice. But it's starting to look real appetizing at this point. They are emotionally in tune. They are going to compliment. They are going to do all the things, right, that we want a man to do, because they are men. It's just sexually they're not attracted to you. And at this point, the men that are supposed to be sexually attracted to us ain't sexually attracted to us because they play too many games. So I'm just saying, damn.
It's a very interesting take. So, Noma, how does this trend reflect the larger society shifts that's happening in the terms of partnerships and relationships? You heard what she said. She wants someone to compliment her. Your partner should. My husband and I do it all the time. But
Straight men do that.
You're right. Straight men do that. So what do you think is this, how did you think about, what's your comment on her take on this Lavender marriage? Because she's now starting to be like, you know what? This looks like something I might do.
So it's based on a lot of assumptions, and just for the record, I think she's also just spewing a bunch of nonsense. So she's assuming that a straight man won't act right, but a gay man will. What if he's also out all night, every night with his male person that he's actually attracted to? What if he parties? What if he snorts cocaine? Why are we making the assumption that a gay man is going to act right when a straight man won't? Because whether some women want to believe it or not, a large part of who comes into your life has a lot to do with who you are as a woman. And if you think that you've been attracting and entertaining horrible men, that if you now switch from straight men to gay men, that suddenly you're going to attract the best of the gay men? No. If you are a bottom of the barrel woman in the straight world, you're probably going to be a bottom of the barrel woman in the gay world. So that's why I say all of this is just nonsense and rubbish, because it's like these fantasies that they have. Can you just admit as a woman that you want to be coupled up with a man? Okay, you want normalcy, you want companionship, love, provision, protection, all of those things, but you have failed to get it. Okay, start there. There are women right here on this podcast who can show you that it's possible to get a good man and sustain a marriage and be normal and happy and content and go through the ups and downs and sustain it and love each other and all of that. So it's not like we're saying there's something possible that isn't possible. They're literally examples of that being possible. So you have to at some point arrive to the fact that you don't have that has a lot to do with your development as a person, okay? And when you develop as a person, your choices become better, your decisions become better. The people that you allow into your life and sustain relationships with become better. That's just a fact. If you're like I said, if you're a bottom of the barrel kind of woman, yeah, you're gonna get a bunch of losers, and then draw the conclusion erroneously that men are full of you know what, and I might as well give up, or I might as well do it by myself and all of this. But I need people to know that a lot of times when women say, I would rather be alone, that's a trauma response. Mm-hmm. You're responding to all the bad decisions and all the bad relationships that you've had. And now you're saying it's better to be alone. No, it's not better to be alone. You're compromising what you wanted. You're settling for something you don't want because you failed at getting what you want. And just let's start there before we go into the garbage of, well, he's going to compliment me and he's going to do this for me. Nonsense. There's just as many horrible gay people as there are straight people.
In all countries, in every age bracket, in every color, in every religion, in everything. You get a hodgepodge. That's why you can't just normalize one, like make a whole group this. No, baby, there's a whole hodgepodge in every group. And you can't get around that. That is the truth of the matter. Booker Williams says she's just dealing with the wrong men. And he was talking about the young lady that we just watched on the video. Dee says it won't work. Cooperating with a Black man is the only path. despite the fact that we are not the wealthiest or the most powerful men today. So that leads me to this. And this question is for you, Aisha. You know, we did talk about this, and he's tapping into, he's saying that the Black men are not the wealthiest or the most powerful. So what happened to being able to not necessarily worry about what your spouse does? Because I was taught, and I truly believed it in my life, and I've seen it happen. I don't care if I'm dating a garbage man, as long as we are on one accord and we are equally yoked, we can build together. I don't necessarily have to worry about him being a garbage man or a mailman or you know, whatever. The man is a good man. His heart is. It's not necessarily what he does that makes up a complete man. So are you thinking that this is a part of us trying to conform into that too? And now we're laying back on these lavender marriages because we don't want to deal with the men who may be garbage men.
Crazy, right? Like, powerful men. Are you kidding me? I don't believe that Black men are not
They're
powerful
part of
men.
America.
I'm like, maybe in America. Well, to me, you know what? It doesn't even really. Come on, like you just said, Lala. So am I saying my husband is only powerful if he's a CEO? Am I saying my husband is only powerful if he owns a business or something? No. What does that mean, right? Again, is it agreement that my husband is my husband and I will treat him as such and we'll work together regardless of his status, whether he's a CEO or not. So I think the narrative is happening in our culture here because of what we're allowing. Like, people are like really just throwing away what is important and just focusing on what is convenient. What is convenient? And convenience will only get you so far, because we have to sacrifice. We have to do the right things to get what we want. If you want to be powerful, you become powerful by showing up for your family, by being there for your family, by sacrificing to the end for your family. That's what powerful means. But I think in this country, somehow it's being described to be people that have money, and because it's not our color, so it means they're powerful. Yeah, I agree. You know, being in finance, I can see where having money gives you that kind of, you know, power when it comes to money. But really, power is in the home, in the way we treat our families, in our family being know that they can depend on us, that will be there for them. That is powerful, because somebody may have money, but he's not powerful because his kids don't even want him around, because he's half the time he's not even at home. That's not power, right? So I think that we have to really think this through, brothers and sisters. We shouldn't allow this lavender thing to become normal in our community. We should not allow it to be normal and think, well, no, you can do what you want personally, that's okay, but do not make it normal that our women now, who are the people that give birth to the earth, are saying they're going to do this and it's okay. I'm not saying all of them, but it's becoming like something that they're thinking about doing. We should not agree. I don't think that brings our family to the power we're talking about, or the just that sacredness of having that strength as a family together, mother, father, brothers, sisters, uncle, aunties, that kind of believe in the same thing, so that we can really build for the next generation. We can't allow this to become something that we even say it's okay. Oh, well, that's them, that's not us. No, it's our children that are going to have to see that too. We don't want that.
And here's no, sorry for what? That's your opinion. That's what we do here. We share opinions and we listen to other people's opinions too. Miss Williams says being alone is better than being in a toxic heterosexual or homosexual relationship. Now, I'm going to say that that's true. You know, no amount of toxicity is good. You could be better off alone if that's the case. But we all know we are also human, and there is a human connection. And Noma talked about it. It could be, you know, like trauma involved as well. There's so many deep roots to this. But here's one thing. We know that it's around. We know that it's been around for a long time. And it just has a new name. But this is something that we are seeing more of, especially because of social media, because a lot of times, y'all, it wasn't just talked about. You knew it. People in the neighborhood knew it, right? but it wasn't talked about and it wasn't discussed out loud. But now everything that is on social media is discussed out loud, and now here it is, and we can have these conversations. But we are definitely winding down. I have so much to say about this. We're going to end with this video, and then we're going to have final thoughts. Keep the comments coming because we are loving what you're typing in. We appreciate you talking with us. Let's check out this video.
I'm on the market for a lavender marriage because at 43, I'm just tired of niggas and the bullshit. Don't appreciate nothing. Don't appreciate consistency, integrity, or any of that shit. Romantic gestures, none of that. I feel like a female would appreciate that more. So, yeah, that's what I'm on right now. We be there for each other emotionally and all that, financially, together, you know, and just live life. I don't have any kids, so, yeah, that's what I'm on right now. So please DM me. You know, if you down, I'm just tired of being used for my supple skin. I'm a human being, and I have feelings.
And that's what it boils down to. We all have feelings. We all have the desire of love. And so I'm going to tap into that video with your final thoughts, ladies, and then make sure that you please tell us where we can find you. Noma, I'm going to start with you on your final thoughts, please.
Sure. So he says that it sounds like he's saying that he's gay, but he's gonna settle for a woman. And I'm back to my original thoughts that I don't believe that anything where the foundation is dishonesty and a betrayal and pretending can be sustainable, can be healthy, and that it can thrive. Let's just go back to the basics. Let's build our families based on growing ourselves as human beings. If you come from a place where you've only seen toxicity and horrible things, get around people who are more healthy and more functional. Learn how to be a healthy and functional man or woman before you connect with somebody. And do it. Build families, have children, build legacy, build Black wealth, and do it for generations. I will always stand on that. That is the hill that I will die on. My name is Nomalanga. You can find me on Facebook under that name. I'm also on Instagram as Noma Moses. And you can also find me under my name on YouTube under the same name, Nomalanga Sally Moses. I do also would like to tell you about our Paths for Our Girls charity. We provide sanitary supplies for young girls who experience poverty and that makes them not go to school on their days. And we supply periods we supply pads for them. If you would like to help us, we are at padsforourgirls.com. Again, that's padsforourgirls.com. Any amount always helps and it goes a long way.
It's such a great cause. Y'all just really need to tap into that, please. I'm actually telling you, please make sure that you check into that because that is something critical. And we appreciate you, Noma, for having that and sharing that with us. Aisha, what are your final thoughts and where can we find you?
What a great conversation we had today, you know, and it just, when I first heard about that topic, lavender marriage, and I was curious, and now we talk about it today. And it's just, to me, at the end of the day, no matter what, family is important. I know sometimes we've gone through traumatic experiences, maybe in our own families, so this causing, trying to seek other ways to do things. I think at the end of the day, our goal is to get back to normalcy. What is the greater good? Not just for me, but for the next generation, right? Families is a place where you can really build the next generation. You can build wealth. And again, it requires sacrifice. It requires us to lay down our lives, right? For the fidelity it requires. So let's do it. If we have to heal to do that, let's get back to that. Rather than finding ways to put a band-aid, let's rip out the band-aid, heal the wounds so that we can really have the right foundation. Because we know that if we don't do that, eventually we will die off. Because there's no need to lie about our lives just because we want to fit in. Those are my final thoughts. We deserve what is good. Let's focus on that and do what is right for us and for the next generation, of course. And you can find me at aishaverzi.com, or also I'm on the Black Business School as a coach if you need help with your insurance or planning for your retirement and you need help with that, you can reach me there. Thank you.
Thank you. Please make sure that you do check her out, because you know what, like I said, the finances are very important. You need to start really watching your pennies and your dollars and seeing how they can return back to you at the best return rate. Listen, here's my thoughts. To each their own, however they want to live their life, as long as you're not hurting someone else. My stance always stands. If you cannot help, please do not harm. Here's one thing that I wish for my son, who is a part of the LGBTQ community. I don't want him to settle. I want him to be happy. I want him to thrive in a relationship with someone that he truly can have a connection with, where they uplift one another and they are equally yoked, and not a life of lies, because that not only hurts you, but it also hurts other people as well. Now, listen, if you're looking to get into live streaming, I have a course for you, and you can check that out on my website, www.laurakey.net. And it will walk you through 21 days of what you can do to start learning what it takes to be a live streamer. And we all know that we all have a voice, because I see all these voices over here that would probably make good shows. So we thank you, Anonymous and Black Lexicon. We love you, Dee and Tamisha, Steve White. We know we got Deborah and Miss Williams, Dr. Vibe. Listen, we love all of you, and we are very appreciative of you, because without you, we would have no show. So thank you for joining us today as we unpack the complexities of lavender marriages and how they're evolving in our communities, our Black communities. As we navigate love and finances and identity, it's important to remember that no size fits all. Relationships works for everyone. So what works for you may not work for somebody else. What's most important is finding the balance that supports your emotional, financial, and personal well-being. Whether we're seeking love, companionship, or financial security, it's crucial to build relationships that honor our true selves. So until next time, my loves, my special family out there, we want you to stay true to who you are. Stay empowered. And remember, your worth isn't defined by anyone else but yourself. We will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are saying peace out. Bye.